What is up, ladies and gentlemen of the online Jamily? JamiroFan 2000 here, the beard of wisdom of the online Jamily, with yet another episode of JamiroFan Talks About. For the uninitiated in this series here on my channel of the JamiroFan 2000 YouTube channel, this has been my periodic discussion series of nearly over 9 years, looking at the past, present, and future of Jamiroquai, and they're now over through 32 years of musical and influential making. Now, this episode is going to be dealing with a Jamiroquai album disappearing from music streaming, at least here in the United States as of recently. Just to give you a little bit of context on some of the music streaming related news items that have been coming across my table. But a few months ago, in the latter part of 2024, the Jamiroquai album Traveling Without Moving, which had been streaming on all the major platforms, at least in this case on Spotify, mysteriously disappeared from the albums tab on the Jamiroquai artist page on the Spotify music streaming platform and ended up being regimented over to the compilation section of the platform. But of course, after a little time went by, they corrected that by putting Traveling Without Moving's streamable album on the Spotify music streaming platform back into the section of albums. But as of recently, we had a major departure of the first album that Jamiroquai produced during their recent album contract, of course, with Universal Music, which so far they have done 2 albums releases on. And of course, the album I'm talking about is Rock Dust Lightstar. It was reported to me and by many members of the Jamily as of recently that at least in dealing with American music streaming platforms, Rock Dust Lightstar in its standard album edition and deluxe edition has mysteriously disappeared from some of the music streaming platforms, at least in their iteration regionally here in the United States. And the 2 affected music streaming platforms, of course, it's Spotify and Apple Music. But unlike that, the album is still streaming natively on YouTube and apparently Apple Music, but some members of the Jamily across abroad have been noticing that Rock the Lightstar, at least on those 2 affected platforms, the album mysteriously being unavailable to listen to on those said platforms, is still readily available on the European and other regional estuaries of those music streaming platforms. But it's very, very bizarre to see an album like this in such a widespread manner only be available on some music streaming platforms and not available on other music streaming platforms. But I did reach out to my Jamiroquai HQ contact, and I hope to get more information about what is going on. But the most common excuse for this kind of weird activity that can usually happen on music streaming platforms, at least in reference to either artists' music or artists' albums being available or readily available, and in some cases some of these platforms are paywalled and they just mysteriously disappear on occasion from some music streaming platforms. But there has been a phenomenon, at least online, over the last 20 years of music streaming, where a little thing called regional geolocking happens, where either it could usually be a dispute between the record label and said streaming platform, or something as ubiquitous as either a glitch or a bug that causes that album to become temporarily unavailable on some of those music streaming platforms. And in this case, it appears that Rock the Lightstar, at least here in the United States, on, like as I said, on Spotify and at least Apple Music, it is not currently available. You can find the album on some specific links on those said music streaming platforms, but you cannot listen to any of the tracks on these affected albums. And in this case, it's the standard edition and the deluxe edition. But much like in the past when other albums from many other artists ended up being geo-locked in certain regions of some music streaming platforms, I do hope that this gets rectified very soon. But once I get an update from my official source at Jamiroquai HQ about this recent disruption of Rock the Lightstar being available, at least in this case, in the United States on Spotify and Apple Music, I'll be sure to cover it on a future episode here on the JamiroFan 2000 YouTube channel. But, you could always do a meme basically saying, oh, Rock the Lightstar wasn't too embarrassed to be heard on blah blah streaming platform, given Rock the Lightstar still continues to be one of the most divisive albums on the 8-album discography of Jamiroquai's back catalog. But hopefully, like I said, this will be rectified very, very soon. And of course, like I said, aforementionedly, I will give you an update on this hopefully very soon once I hear from my Jamiroquai HQ in regards to the temporary unavailability on Spotify and Apple Music of listening to Jamiroquai's album Rock the Lightstar. But as always, this is JamiroFan 2000. I hope you enjoyed this episode of JamiroFan Talks About. If you like what you see, be sure to like and subscribe and ding the bell on your YouTube to stay up to date on all the latest new content coming from the JamiroFan 2000 YouTube channel. I will fully endeavor to keep bringing you all the latest news as it becomes available. But as always, this is JamiroFan 2000, and I'll see you again really soon with more Jamiroquai related content here on the JamiroFan 2000 YouTube channel. Bye bye, everybody. Thank you again all for the support, and I'll see you around.